frost has bid its final goodbye. A robin sings 'neath the bright blue sky. The creek runs wild, it's found its song. The second first day of spring has come along. Winter's shadows have finally cleared. Brighter days ahead, the sun's premiered. With every bloom, my heart takes wing on this second first day of spring.
Good morning, everybody. Unglued Brit here. I'm here with my morning coffee. So it is 6:48 in the morning, which means that I am 1 hour and 48 minutes late making this video. I am behind. I should be ashamed of myself. However, I have labelled this video Q&A for the second first day of spring, because we have had 2 first days of spring in Russia. So yeah, this is the first one, because it's going to be, I think, 9 degrees today or something, I've heard. So yeah, as you can see, I've got the wood out. It's going to snow in about 10 minutes time, a little bit of snowfall, and then after that it should be sunny for the rest of the day. So there's your weather. And then this wood's going outside and getting straight in the sun, because with this wood over here, so it looks just like a bunch of debarked logs, which it kind of is. Watch what I'm going to do with those. I tell you, I've got some ideas. Now anyway, enough of the semantics. Let's get to the questions, because I've got a bloody lot to get through, to be honest. So let's just quickly pop into the Telegram. So if you're not on the Telegram group, then that means you weren't able to ask questions directly through the Telegram group. So I'll pop the link to that in the description, and you should join it if you want to ask questions in the next one. Anyway, we're going to start with our first round of questions from one of our loyal subscribers, Rip Current. So first question of the day is, what do you enjoy most about a typical day, and what stresses you out? I would say what I enjoy most about a typical day, I don't really either enjoy a typical day or not, to be honest. It's just, I just go with it. And I know that at some points it's going to be better than others. That's my general philosophy on just a typical day. I mean, you know, like, if I enjoy just what I'm doing at that particular time, so really it's not so much about the day, it's more a matter of what I'm doing. So on a typical day, my work's a bit quieter due to a lot of students that are going on holidays and whatnot around this time of year. So it's given me a lot of time to follow my passion, which, as you can see behind me, is sitting right there, basically. So as you can see, I just love doing woodwork. To be honest, I love everything about just working with something, building something out of nothing. Like, give me a pallet, I'll build something out of it, you know what I mean? So yeah, these are probably the most enjoyable parts of my day. I could literally just sit there for 5-6 hours, just debarking wood and then sanding it down and carving it. Yeah, like that's probably the most enjoyable part of my day. So the next question is, have you become a bit Russian in some of your habits or attitudes? Yes, actually, I would say that I have. You know what it is? Of course, being from Britain, these days, there's kind of like this psychological warfare operation on the native population of Britain via the government and via, say, the Nudge Unit, the BBC, and different propaganda institutions like those. So, of course, due to the fact that they've been beating people down with colonialism and all the British native population are a bunch of racists and should hate their history, hate their past, hate everything about themselves. You know, I come from there, basically, where that's absolutely pushed into the population and you can't go out without the message being in your face. Whereas I don't really have to suffer any of that from Russia. Russia has its history, its dark sides and its good sides, but either way, in Russia, it's just kind of recognised. Okay, yeah, there was that bad bit, there was that good bit, but we're going to get on. We're just going to remember it as a nation and move forwards and learn from anything that we've done in the past. And that's kind of the thing when you're in Russia. You realise you're in a proud nation of proud people who are proud of their country. And it rubs off on me. And I just feel proud to be here, to be honest. And I feel proud of this nation. I want to see this nation do well too. And that's kind of the thing. As a result, you end up with a bit more oomph, a bit more spirit in you. You wake up with a little bit more of an edge because you're not constantly having rammed down your neck British propaganda how bad you are as a person for simply being born a certain way or characteristic. So as a result, that makes your attitudes a little bit more direct and forward, and your opinions a lot more forward. Because in Britain, you've constantly got to hide your opinions in order to avoid losing your job or even going to prison. Whereas here, I just kind of talk and throw it out there. And yeah, basically, if someone disagrees with me, then like in the classical way that we used to, they say, I disagree with you and this is what I think. And you have a debate and a discussion. And yeah, like you don't need to worry about so much that kind of social castigation and social puritanism that you encounter so much in Britain. In Britain, you know, you can give your own opinion on a matter. Now, if it's not of the status quo, the Blairite formula of the 1990s that has been continued and propagated all the way up to our modern era, then if you don't share that view, then unfortunately, you could lose your job. You could easily end up in prison for, say, a hate crime, which thousands of Brits seem to be doing at the moment. They seem to post something on Facebook, and that's the thing. In Britain, you're constantly thinking, "Oh, better not do that. Better not post that. Better not say that. Better be careful if I say that." Whereas here, people just say things, and it's really refreshing, and it rubs off on you, and you realise, hang on, I can just talk here. I can just talk. You know what it is? The difference is with Britain and Russia, and how your opinion changes, is that opinions here have to be based on facts. So you have to find the truth, no matter where the truth leads. And that's the thing. That's what's more important. Truth and fact. That's it. Whereas in Britain, truth and facts don't matter. What the message is matters. So, for instance, okay, let's say if you've got an opinion on migration, on illegal migration, on boats coming over and people staying in hotels for free. If you've got the wrong opinion, no matter how true it is, it's a hate crime to talk about it. So you can get arrested and charged under hate crime legislation for even speaking about that, no matter if it's true. So it's not about truth. It's about following the ideology. So that's kind of the thing. Being here allows you to come out of your shell a bit more and then be able to just talk about things for as long as they are factual and true. And so they bloody should be. That's what everybody should be aiming for. Do I see my home country differently now? Yes, I do, actually. It's because when I was living in Britain, of course, I do actually love my country for the people, for many reasons, actually. But however, with regards to how it is being run, there is a certain direction that it is going in. And call me a cynic, call me a skeptic, I don't really care, I probably am. I see that it's going in a direction that is just absolutely irresolvable without, say, a civil war or a civil conflict, because it seems that all of the parties that are in power are really just one party, just parading under different colours. and they're all going with the same message. Even Reform UK, even Nigel Farage's party, yeah, they are with the message, if you get my drift on that. So as a result, what you end up with are just political parties that are all saying, yeah, unlimited mass migration is a great thing for the country. We should have a two-tier society. We shouldn't castigate one race because they do one thing, but we should certainly castigate another race because they do the same thing. You see, so that's kind of what you're left with. You're left with a society that must think one thing and must go in one direction. And if you are not on board with it, you are out. So the thing is, how do I see it differently? Being in Russia, actually, you realise that, yeah, this country doesn't want to go into controlled decline. It wants to actually do well. So you see that in the society around you. You see that with building projects, infrastructure projects. You see it with your own eyes, that this society doesn't want to collapse, and it is proud of itself and has a long history that it's proud of, and that it wants to do well into the future and has a vision for the future. There is no vision for the future in Britain. There's net zero. Oh, right, so we're just going to get rid of all the coal plants and I guess go back to riding donkeys and mules and what have you. And yeah, it's just a degrading society that's just willing to absolutely destroy its working class in order to further ideological aims, no matter who is affected. Whereas it seems to me that, yeah, the political leadership here actually do care about the little man. If you think about it, you can rewind back to the 90s. Now, from the 90s onwards in Russia, you can see how it has progressively improved, and that is categorically true. You don't even need to talk about it, though you can, because you'll find the same answer. But just look at before and after photos and look at how things have changed. You can see fundamental improvements visually. Yeah, so, that's kind of the thing. There was, of course, the chaos of the 90s, and it's kind of led people to actually want to build a better society after that time, an orderly, strong society. And that's kind of the thing. Then when I look back at my own country after living here for years now, it's kind of like I look at it, and what I see is I actually see that there's a continuous degradation of living standards in Britain. There's a continuous... The British population are continuously getting more angry. They're getting angrier and angrier as the years go on. People who I never thought would ever let leave their lips the idea of leaving Britain are now talking and saying, yeah, you know what, I'm fed up of it here. I'm leaving. People that were once absolutely proud and were like, no, I'm Britain till I die kind of folks. They want to go. They want to go. And I know a few that already have. Even in the last 6 months of not being on YouTube, I've been messaging people. I've been like, right, okay, wow. So, we were kind of like the early adopters, so to speak, but now there are more and more people off, not necessarily to here, but to other parts of Eastern Europe, Poland, and, all around. I'm seeing it all the time. Britain, in fact, has the second largest population of millionaires leaving at this very point in time. So, yeah, their wealthiest are off. And you look back to, say, the 90s, what you would see is that their millionaires were trying to get their money into Britain, actually, because, yeah, there was this sense of pride. There was this sense of, it's great to be British, it's great to be us sort of thing. But, yeah, that's absolutely been swept away. In fact, a lot of people don't enjoy being British anymore, it seems. So it's not a very proud society. There's no pride in society, and no one wants to fight for it. That's kind of the thing. And then all of a sudden you see that, yeah, there was enlistment for the army. So, of course, there was a conscription for the army at the very start of the SMO in Russia. But then look what's happened since. It's just been done on a volunteer basis. Good paycheck, but it's been done voluntarily, and people are willing to put their lives on the line for this nation, which tells you, you know what, because there's something to fight for here. Now, what I can do is I'm going to just quickly pop on a video of British people just being asked in the street if they want to fight for their country.
Okay, we're in the heart of the West End. We are on Oxford Street, just in front of John Lewis. We're going to be asking young people, quite simply, do they believe in conscription and would they fight on behalf of their countries? What do you think of conscription in the UK?
I'm good, thank you, bro.
War is bad.
War is bad?
War is bad.
How old are you?
20.
21.
Do you know what conscription is?
No.
You are forced to fight for England. You don't have a choice.
Hey.
Would you fight for England?
Nah, not at this stage. Nah. Not with how the country's been run now. Nah, I wouldn't.
What about yourself, sir?
I would, but not for this government. I'm
That's-
English myself, so I'm quite patriotic, you know what I mean? But not for this government, I wouldn't.
What's wrong with this government?
I just don't like how it's all being run. I think it's, I'm not too into politics myself, but my parents tell me all the time, like, there's stuff wrong with the government here, there, everywhere. It makes me think, why am I going to put my life on the line for these people?
Everyone agrees. I've not met one person today who's been like, yeah, I'll fight for this country. It's a great country.
There's no incentive. There's absolutely no incentive to fight for a country who the government don't care for you.
Okay, so we're halfway through the interviews, and I can firmly say the majority, if not everyone, is not interested in fighting on behalf of England, especially when it comes to the Ukraine war. So if you were forced to fight kind of against Russia on behalf of Ukraine as an English young man, would you do it?
Most likely not.
As a mum to this lovely young man, would you want him to fight?
Nope.
Do you believe in conscription in the UK?
Hell no.
Why?
Because I want to choose what I want to do.
Would you fight for England right now if you had to, if you were forced to?
Nah. Nah, you're right.
I would not. I would not.
For me, it's not for me, mate.
So with regards to the question of what would I like to change with regards to social relations, not only in Russia but in the UK, I wouldn't change any about Russia. I like the way it is. Social relations in Russia, in my view, have been very direct and very straightforward. People are direct with me and I'm very direct with them. And you know what? It's a brilliant way to be. Now, of course, me being a phonetician and a teacher, it's very nice to deal with a race of people that you can just give instant feedback to and they like the feedback and will actually work on it because it's just straightforward here. You can give feedback to people in such a way in the educational field that you give it, it's there, it gets worked on. It's so simple and straightforward. The social relation bit. In England, you have to use a lot of indirect language. That's probably the biggest thing. The use of indirect language. You can't be as straightforward with people in Britain as you can in Russia. Being straightforward and honest with people is actually respected. It's when you're not being direct that's actually disrespected here. Sometimes feels a bit snaky. It's just like, I want to turn around to people and say, get to the point. Get to the point. Come on, hurry up. Hurry up. Just say it. Like, you know, and that's kind of the thing. You see it in corporate emails. I mean, it's really, HR hasn't played a big part in it. Human resources departments around Britain, you know, they even get employees to change their language because they thought it was too direct. And then you've always got bloody Susie from HR in Britain that uses language such as room for improvement, cause for concern, instead of saying, no, this is terrible and needs fixing. This is bad and we need to fix it. You know, I like that directness in Russia. You don't get it in the UK, and I think it's been beaten out of people by crappy little human resource teams back in Britain that basically don't want you to just talk directly to someone. So it's very, very refreshing just to have people be direct and honest with you. Love it. Love it. I love that bit. It's like there's cause for concern. There's cause for concern. All direct language is just going out the window, and it seems every time I talk back to England, I notice just little bits of vocab, phrases coming back into the language, new ones that people use in order to just deliberately be indirect with someone. And I find it very dishonest, and I don't really enjoy it, and I try not to engage in it sometimes because I'm over here and they're over there. I'll just throw in some straight direct language that just to snap them out of it because it's stupid. So, Rip Current, thank you very much for your questions. We are going to move to Anton, who's got 4 questions for us. Anton says, why is the UK so invested in the Ukraine war? Even if it's starting to smell bad after the Trump election. Well, Anton, I can tell you why. It goes back, we're talking hundreds of years at this point, actually, of this ethno-hatred of Russian people and their country. And that's the thing, it's always been a desire since the times of empire to kind of take Russia down. It always has. I mean, despite, you have to go further back than World War II and take a look at those times where, again, Britain would have loved to have basically ruled Russia at some point, and they never could. Nobody ever can, because Russia's Russia. So, yeah, that's kind of the thing. When it comes to Russia, there's still a contingent of, I would say, the aristocratic class of Britain. Certainly not people like myself or the regular working man. The regular working man would just rather we got our own native homeless off the streets and, you know, like, had a country and just worked on ourselves, really. I believe, and I've heard this said before, but I believe that it's avoidance. Hating Russia is avoidance of internal problems, which Britain is riddled with. The truth is, Britain is riddled with so many internal problems, we are nearly on the point of a civil war. It's surprising that a civil war hasn't occurred yet, after all the British people have been through with internal policy and internal structure over the last, I would say, 2-3 decades. It really is surprising. In fact, there is a gentleman, I'll quote his name probably in a little bit. I'll put a video in the description actually about how close we are to civil war by a professor who is literally who is specialised in looking at civil wars around the world and sees that we are in potentially phase 1 of a civil war out of a 3-phase operation. Britain is riddled with internal strife and anger and bitterness and resentment at this moment in time, and rightfully bloody so, actually, for the way that the elites are treating the working class people. So what you end up with in Britain is a situation where the elites just want to look outwards. And historically, coming into the modern day, they still think that they are something that they are not. They still think that the empire exists. Oh, good old Britain, yeah, we're strong, we are the British bulldog, we can take on anyone. No, we bloody can't, okay? We bloody can't. You cannot fill the British Army into an entire football field in Britain. You cannot do it. You can't stick them in a stadium and fill it. That's where Britain is, realistically. Speaking of which, the Trident submarine, it turns out that the officers that will operate that, they used to go on 3-month rotations. It turns out now that they're on a 6-month rotation, which tells you that half of the staff that they used to have to staff that submarine cannot be found. So they have to now go on 6-month rotations, and it's even been said it could be longer, it could be less, who knows? So it's in utter decay, to be honest with you. So this idea that Britain wants to, say, fund Ukraine or fund Israel or fund anything, it goes back to the fact that they can't just look at themselves in the mirror and say, yeah, we're not the great power that we once were. Like, Britain, and I'm going to say it, and you know what, a lot of people aren't like this, is fundamentally irrelevant on the global stage. No one gives a crap. It's 2025. It's not the days of empire. It's not the days of old. It's not the days of Winston Churchill. It's not. And they've got that many internal problems. But it's like, you know what? Let's just look at Ukraine, Russia bad. Look over there. Don't look here. Forget the natives. Look over there at that thing there. Oh my God, isn't that terrible? Whilst ignoring what's happening on their own street. Birmingham. I used to live in Birmingham for a short while in Sutton Coldfield, and whilst I was in Birmingham, what I started to realise was bin men go on strike quite a lot. Now, the council of Birmingham, the second biggest city in the UK, is now bankrupt, and the streets are full of trash. They cannot get the bin men to collect the trash. Can you imagine? Because the council is bankrupt, and they've taken the money away from the bin men to be able to deal with doing basic things like take the trash out. Let me stick a video on of that. So as you can see there, the country is so badly in disrepair, and it's getting worse and worse. But again, it's just so soothing for the eyes of the elites to just not look at it and look at the big bad boogeyman over there. And Russia is the big bad boogeyman. But the thing is, because they've imported so many populations and not integrated them correctly into Britain now, you've got ghettos, you've got Islamic ghettos, to this ghetto, to that ghetto. So you've got a bunch of different tribes that are just all separated over the land, basically in a bit of a rush for power. So that's the state of Britain at this point in time. They can't come to terms with the fact that they are just not the cool guy on the block anymore. That's America, China and Russia. And Britain doesn't really play much of a global role at all, and still pretends that it does by showing up to bloody Davos and wherever. But no one cares. No one cares. What does Britain produce? I mean, they're closing down their last steelworks or something, the last time I heard, and that's going to be moving off. So there'll be no one in Britain that can produce flipping steel. The British Empire, remember, used to produce some of the best steel in the world. Used to produce the most ships in the world at one point. Now they won't even be able to produce steel. Anyway, you know what? I could rant on Britain, but I'm going to move on to the next question. I could rant on Britain. Bloody did, didn't I? Right. So, number 2. Where is the insulation and heating of your cabin? Well, actually, I started this project not too long ago. Now, you know, if you look at the first Unglued Britain is Back video, you'll see that it's still a work in progress, basically. So I only started this project, what was it now? 2 months ago? It must have been about just over 2 months now I started this project, and it was in utter decay and disrepair, to be honest. Like, I mean, the state that it's in now is wonderful in comparison to what it was. However, we do actually have some insulation in the ceiling. So there is actually insulation up there. So what we've got this kind of hay straw stuff, you know, that kind of, you know, classic old school insulation. We've got some of that up there. So ceiling's insulated, but there is no heating in here. So you can imagine for the last 2 months, I've just kind of become acclimatised to it. So yeah, I'm wearing a jumper and I'm wearing my body warmer. At the same time, being from Britain, to be fair, the houses are pretty cold. I'm used to cold. I like a bit of cold. I mean, inside our proper house, not my little man cave, but inside the proper house, the heating's on and it's bloody hot in there, right? In here, it's not, but I kind of enjoy that in a weird way. It kind of does remind me of the old country. Because that's kind of the thing. In Britain, we've got this kind of wet, humid, cold air throughout the winter months. And it's very hard to heat the houses because a lot of them are quite old and a lot of them just weren't built with correct insular capacity. Whereas it's more of an important thing to do to make sure that your property is correctly insulated in Russia, because for it not to be on a day that's minus 30, you're not going to have a good time, are you? So, of course, yeah, the properties here are really good and really insular. Whereas, you know, I come out to here and I'm kind of indoors but in the great outdoors, and I enjoy it. I enjoy getting nice and wrapped up and cosy, and yeah, it kind of reminds me of Britain in a way to do that. So I'm not too bothered. I've kind of, over the last 2 months, I've been working outside on this project every single day. I've kind of just become used to it. Like, I don't get the shivers. It doesn't bother me. You can see that it's cold, and yeah, of course it is. But I really don't mind. I don't mind. I've worked out here in colder conditions all day, every day, and I'm just used to it now. It's just, yeah, you know, you get some warm phases, warmer of the colder phases, and cooler of the warmer phases. You just, when you're out in it every day, it's just like, yeah, if I have eaten nice, cool, but yeah, like other than that, I'm all right. But what I will do, actually, I will, when real winter comes, which will be, of course, next winter now, because spring is coming. So I am gonna get like just a little, I don't know, heater. Now the thing is, if I just show you what's going on down behind me, hang on, wait there. So as you can see here, can you see the electricity over there? Right, that's pretty old. I mean, it's a different form of plug socket. Do not put out much wattage. They're pretty old. I need to replace the entire electricity for this, and I have modern electricity put in that puts out the correct wattage for such heaters. It's not been my biggest concern. My biggest concern's been getting this place up to scratch. That'll be one of my next things. But to be honest, I know that I've got the spring coming, the summer coming. You know, I'm not really in a rush to get that done, but it will be. It will be. So, next question. Are you okay with the quality of products at the usual grocery store in Russia? Yeah, I mean, the quality's sound. It's fantastic. I love it. I love it. To be honest, the quality is wonderful. In my experience, yeah, like you've got a very abundant variety of everything. The variety is amazing in Russia, from things all around the world, from Vietnam to China. Like, you can get products here, believe it or not, that you just can't get in England. There are certain things you can get from China. Even the Chinese beer's really nice, actually. But yeah, you wouldn't get that in England. So yeah, a different range of products for certain in your typical grocery store, I would say. Yeah, the quality's fantastic though. It's wonderful. I've never had a problem with quality. It's on par with, in some cases, better than in Britain, actually. Next question. Now, this takes into the next one. What products do you miss from the UK? I'll tell you. Certain cheeses. Now, we've got a great range of cheese here, to be honest. I love Russian cheese. Like, the cheese is wonderful. Everything from goat cheese to all of the different other types of cheeses. But, at the same time, I'm from the West Midlands region. I bloody miss Shropshire blue cheese. And cheeses from Shropshire, they've got a good red... No, that's Leicester. I'm thinking Leicestershire Red Fox. Leicestershire Red Fox. The cheeses in our region are so unique and sublime. Other ones, farmhouse cider. You've got ciders here, some good ciders, to be fair, but we typically have these locations that are wonderful, called cider houses out in the countryside in Britain. So you can find a good cider house, and you usually find that the cider was made there and then on that farm. It's now in the pub, and when it's ready, it's delicious. On a summer's day, a good cider house cider. You know what? We've got that many apples here, right? I'm thinking of one of my projects. When it's apple season, I'm going to have to make my own cider house, aren't I? And yeah, potentially build a bloody brewery on the side of this building. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, because we've got more apples than sense here. We've got about 4 apple trees, I think, and yeah, you would not believe the amount of apples we get. Like, I could make bloody barrels of the stuff, to be honest. So that's going to be a project coming up. I've never made cider in my life, but I'm willing to give it a crack. Right, we are going to get on to Igor now. Igor, I know Brits are complaining about everything. Partially true. Not everything, but partially. So what are you complaining about in Russia? I really like it here. I mean, if I was going to have one complaint, literally it would probably just be the most recent weather issues, because as you can see, I've got all this wood in, partially because, yeah, I wasn't able to store it correctly before the snowfall came, so I've got to have that out in the sun to dry later. So when this weather came around, I mean, yeah, like, bearing in mind, spring's already started in Britain. It started, I think, last week or something properly. So, you know, imagine I've been working outside on wood for the last 2 months. It's been beautiful, crisp, and then I thought we were going into spring. And I thought, yes, it's sunny every day, it's wonderful every day, it's in the teens, it's beautiful, we're having barbecues, we're having fires, you name it, we're having it, it's great. Spring is on its way. And then before you know it, bam, smack, goodbye. Forget your spring, James. This is Russia. We are going to drop an entire winter's worth of snow on your arse, and you aren't going to be woodworking. You're going to put your bloody wood away as best as you can, and you can get in that bloody house. So I had all of these dreams and ideas of things that I wanted to do, and I was like, you know, I had that twinkle in my eye of this wonderful gradual climb into spring. The tulips were out, and then all of a sudden it's just like, no, it's not. Yeah, so sometimes I think, yeah, one of the main complaints would probably be, yeah, the weather conditions. Don't guarantee it. You know, British people tend to call British weather unpredictable, but they have not seen a thing until they've been, tell you what, because we've got a similar unpredictable here, but it's a far more extreme unpredictable when it's unpredictable. So you've got to be bloody prepared here. You really have. And then we've got our final question of the day, which is, what advice would you give people who are struggling to learn the language? This comes from Keith's Russian Journey, by the way. You should all follow him. He's a cool chap. So he said that he's struggling and just can't find a routine that works for him. One thing that I would do, Keith, in fact, maybe 2 things, 3 things. Yeah, go on, call it 3. Right, first one, Duolingo. Now, you can't just use it by itself, mind you. Duolingo, okay, because it will force you to build a streak. And when you're at 100 to 200 days, you don't want to lose that streak, so you're going to do your Duolingo every single day. I think it's an awesome app. I've had great success with it, to be honest with you. So, Duolingo, number 1. Number 2, textbooks. Old school, man. Get a pen to paper. So, get a notebook and get a textbook like you were back at school. They didn't build the school system like that for nothing, you know. And I know a lot of people have complaints about the school system. Whatever, I don't care. Old school, get your notebook like you would back at school. You can get them for like 20 rubles or something, 18, 20 rubles. I forgot what it was. Got a massive stack on Amazon, and what I'd do is just get used to Russian handwriting, because there's something about pen to paper that really does, because you're putting an action and an effort into it, it forces you to learn it. I've had success from that. And the textbooks, now there are very good textbooks. I will actually pop it in the link, what I would recommend. So I'll find some good textbooks for you. You can probably just order them off Amazon. So just as a side recording, this is what I do. As you can see, you can get all of these textbooks for like dead cheap off Amazon, right? And you got perfectly good paper in there, basically. And yeah, and it always helps you just write stuff down. Very useful. Then of course you've got your textbooks here, so that's A1 level, that's Russian grammar in use. For absolute beginner. I love this book. I'll show you why. So if I just quickly go through it, wait there a minute. So if I show you, it kind of gives you like these photo activities, QR codes with listening. You've got your listening in there, your reading, your writing. It covers everything. These are brilliant textbooks, I'm telling you, and they really do force you to do a lot of work, but they're really worth it. So as you can see, we've got our lady down there. So her name is Ekaterina Buskova. So of course, this is the lady that made the books. She makes brilliant books. To be honest, this over here, you say one book, this is really down to your nitty gritty, okay? That's just straight up text. But this is a lot more interactive. I enjoy this more than this, if I'm honest with you. And these always help. So these books are just basic handwriting books that you used when you were a kid, when you were given homework assignments in primary school. Sounds stupid, but they really do help you with your handwriting in Russian. So there you go. Third one if you want to, you can go on italki. If you go on italki, put your language as Russian, find a teacher. Because if you book in a lesson, right, you'll be scheduled in and you'll be forced to go to that lesson. So I would recommend those 3 things. So get a teacher, get some textbooks and notebooks, and Duolingo. If you do all those, and basically use the calendar to make sure you're booking in the time that you're going to learn Russian. Make sure that you're timekeeping. So, of course, we've all got computers these days and what have you. So just go on your computer and start integrating your learning into your calendar, into your free time, and use that time to learn. Eventually, I believe it was a book called Atomic Habits. Is it by Tim Ferriss? It could be. And what he talks about is, I think it's after 12 days. Might be wrong there. It's been years since I read that book. 12 days. And for as long as you're following a routine and a habit for about 12 days, so call it, 2 weeks basically, then you'll just start to do it into the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th week. And then once it just becomes the thing that you do, then you will find that, of course, well, it's just what you do now. You simply, at 2 o'clock on Monday, every Monday, like tradition, just do this thing. And that's the thing. And that can work with anything in life. That's the best thing that I would do. And so some further points that I would teach my students would be repetition, repetition, repetition. Repetition is the mother of skill. If you don't use it, you lose it. So, of course, it's all about repetition. So once you learn it, so of course, if you're in Russia, then what you need to do is try and get it into sentences when you're talking Russian with people. So, I don't know, maybe, if I was speaking in a taxi, I don't know, say if I needed... What I'll do deliberately, or what I did, when I needed to learn directions, I was just like... I was just talking to the taxi driver and stuff like that, and I'd be like, na sleva, na sprava, vperedi, and just getting used to different terms like that, and just saying them, even if I sound crazy, sometimes just in my head, just to know, okay, I can say it in my head, consistently, and it just sticks now. I have no problems with that at all, so I would recommend doing that. Repetition. You can't just learn something because it just disappears. You've got to actually just keep repeating it and using it in just day-to-day life. And just like anything, just like as you were when you learn English, when you're a baby, when you learn English, that's what you did. That's what babies do. Ba, 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 da, 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 and all that sort of stuff. And then they just keep repeating. That's what we have to do when we grow up a little bit. Keep repeating. That's what I'd recommend. Anyway, I hope the recommendation helps. But anyway, guys, that is the last question of the day. I am going to be signing out. I hope that it's been enjoyable for you. If you've got more questions, I'll probably try to turn this into a regular Sunday meeting where I wake up early in the morning, go and do something with a bit of wood and answer your questions. And I hope you enjoyed today's little talk. Anyway, Telegram, everything, all my links are in the description below. And we will speak again soon. I hope you've enjoyed it, guys. Take care.